There are many reasons why people play Team Fortress 2. Some people play for the funny movement, others like to snipe things, some people want to master the art of engineer, while others want to feel some semblance of power in their pathetic lives. Although the game is 15 years old now, it's managed to maintain a modest yet dedicated fan base, even without regular updates. I mean, we're out here updating Serial, and even that's still losing popularity. There are several factors behind the game's long life. First, the game is recognizable. Even if you've never played it, you know the game because you recognize the art style from a meme or animation. And sometimes that's all it really takes to just check out the game. And second, and way less important, is the great game design. The game is still so fun and addicting after all of these years. This is because Team Fortress 2 strikes a perfect balance of predictability and unpredictability. Team Fortress 2's design has allowed it to grow and evolve without ever losing focus on what makes it so great. After playing the game for a bit or reading through some of the forums, you start to recognize patterns in how people play. You learn where people snipe, build, flank, rush. You learn when to use an Uber and when to use a lift. Surge pricing is a bitch, as well as strategies for different maps and game modes. With just 9 beautifully crafted classes, there's only so much you could do on the 4 maps that you'll ever play. Each class has distinct strengths and weaknesses, which makes their playstyles easier to predict the longer you play. You might see this huge list of weapons and think, oh my god, that's a lot of learning, and I'm still trying to get down this Pythagorean theorem thing. But don't worry, bubby. Each weapon is usually just a variation of the stock weapon, and you know what those do, right? If you end up bumping into this Vegemite gobbler, you know there's only 3 things that he could really do: shoot, flee, or throw P. You also know he's going to try to keep his distance because you can see that he doesn't have a secondary weapon so that he could be rocking that back bling. If you see this scrawny ass bitch coming at you with the frying pan, it's pretty easy to predict that he's not going to be using it for cooking. If you really think about it, the game is pretty limited. Each class can only use their own weapons to achieve the objective and play to their strengths, but this just makes it more manageable to learn, plan, and predict. Still, Team Fortress 2's game design allows for a lot of wiggle room. Even with these limits and social norms in place, the game is truly anarchy. The first reason for its unpredictability is that you're playing against real people, and real people are psychos. They're hard to predict. There are strategies and optimal playstyles, but you can't guarantee some guy from Illinois who just got off his 8-hour shift at Domino's is gonna want to play your way. You just can't contain mankind's endless and twisted imagination. Second, the map design. Maps can be so varied in this game that the same game mode might be played a little bit differently on another map. Each map has alternate routes, so you never really know which way your enemies are going to be coming from, and vice versa. More subtle flank routes also spice up the game and can completely change the course of a round. Also, the maps look nice, so it's hard to predict when you'll be mutilated while just trying to take in the scenery. The third reason is weapon variety. Yes, most of the weapons are based off the stock weapon, but each one has its own niche and purpose. Some weapons also give special abilities, like the explosives allow the demo men and soldiers to reach insane heights and speeds. The Wrangler allows the engineer to reach places God never intended for the engineer to reach, and the scout can jump farther or higher with the atomizer bat, force of nature, and winger. These abilities and buffs can also create subclasses, which changes the playstyle of a class. Defensive classes can become offensive and get banned on multiple websites. The offensive pyro class can become a supportive py bro by taking out spies and taking off sappers from the engineer's buildings. The engineer class, that usually sticks behind the front line, secretly crosses it as an engineer to be a sneaky little bastard who makes the game so much more fun and exhilarating. Although you can learn all the maps, weapons, and strategies in the game, you will never perfectly predict what a group of human beings with a common goal will do with these resources. Obviously, other online games have this bit of predictability and unpredictability, but there are a few things that make Team Fortress 2 unique. The first thing is that it doesn't suck. The first reason is the scope. The game design hasn't strayed too far from what the original developers laid out. There are new cosmetics, game modes, strategies, and all that stuff, but the game is pretty similar to when it first released. This can't really be said about other online games where they might slowly morph into a new game, get replaced with a sequel, or just completely die off. Rest in peace Toontown and Club Penguin. Life just hasn't really been the same since then. The second reason is the beautiful marriage of predictability and unpredictability. There are so many weapons and maps, but it doesn't really feel convoluted or bloated because there are only 9 classes with distinct strengths and weaknesses that you can alleviate but never truly cure. And third, the community. It's smaller, meaning it's more tight-knit and cohesive. Generally speaking, we all know about the same YouTubers, strategies, controversies, and everything that goes on inside and outside of the game. Shout out Bing Soy. Unlike a game like, I don't know, Fortnite, where you like Chugmaster 420 and I don't know anything about him because I like BattleBus 182, it's too big, the communities are too big. Team Fortress 2 is truly lightning in a bottle. There's a reason there are still videos being made about it, and no other game has been able to capture the magic that it created. Also, Tears of the Kingdom came out a few months ago, which is a sequel to one of my all-time favorite games, and I have barely played it because I'm too busy playing Team Fortress 2 for months. If you told me like 3 years ago that I would be playing Team Fortress 2 instead of the sequel to my favorite game at the time, I would have probably just thrown out my PC to prevent that from happening. The developers of Team Fortress 2 created a game with a perfect balance of freedom and constraint. The principles they set over 15 years ago has allowed the game to grow and mature without ever becoming a shell of its former self. Although the game has a pretty steep learning curve, I feel like Team Fortress 2 is a bit more forgiving than other skill-based games. All you need to really do is observe and learn how people play and the weakness of their class and their mind. You don't have to spend days on like an aim practice course because you could just be an engineer and that shit will aim for you. Not to mention the soldier and the demo man with their splash damage, and I don't really need to get into it, you know. Team Fortress 2 is one of the best designed games of all time. I truly mean that. It has an awesome art style, interesting lore, and incredibly addicting and fun gameplay. You can see how much love and care the creators put into fine-tuning the limitations and freedoms of this game, and judging by the way the community still shows their love for it, I think it was worth every minute spent. Feel free to rocket jump and smash that subscribe button with your shovel, and while you're up there, join the Discord as well. I've yet to post the pictures of cheese slices in funny places like I promised, but I promise you they are coming soon. Thanks for watching.